It's time for the 1430 Connection on 1430 WNAV and 99.9 FM, spotlighting news, newsmakers, and important community issues. Now, with this week's edition of the 1430 Connection, here is WNAV news anchor Donna Cole.
Welcome to the 1430 Connection. I have the pleasure of once again speaking to Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley. Thanks for joining me today, Mayor.
Always great to be on your show, Donna. Thank you.
What has governing been like during one of, if not the craziest periods in our country's history?
I definitely think it's been a challenging year, but I'm really proud of the work the citizens have done in the city and the work that the employees of the city of Annapolis have done to get it through, what obviously is going to be a historic year for the world. I think Annapolis, in the face of it all, has risen to the occasion and done their best and done a good job in handling the health crisis as well as the economic crisis.
You're running for re-election, yes?
Yes. Yep.
The primary is less than a year away. That's September 21st, 2021. Yeah. The general election also less than a year away, to Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. Why should people re-elect you, and what haven't you done yet that you want to do?
Well, I believe that we've delivered on many things that I said we would deliver on, from reinvestment in our city's infrastructure. If you look around the city, there are sidewalks being replaced and roads being repaired, water access being gained. Our City Dock plan is going to be an amazing initiative that's been talked about for decades, but no one's ever really moved it forward. We're minutes away from awarding the contract for the City Garage and City Dock. That will not only be achieved by not having to go to the taxpayer. It's a $50 million product, so the local taxpayers won't have to foot that bill. We've funded it creatively. We've added parking capacity to the existing garage, or we will be adding parking capacity, and at the same time we'll be spinning off money to raise our City Dock and build a barrier against sea level rise while creating an amazing public space and a world-class historic waterfront space at our City Dock. The way we will be funding that project, the largest municipal project the city has ever done in its history, is by leveraging the value of the Hillman garage, the garage that is behind Chicken Roost, for anyone that wants to get some sense of where we're talking about. That is a 400-so-plus garage. We're going to knock that down. That garage is at the end of its useful life. It had a study done on it, I think it was in 2012, that said that it's at the end of its useful life and it needs to be replaced. But if you spend money on it, we can prop it up for maybe another 5 years. Well, that was done at 2012 or 2013. Here we are at 2020 and it's still there. So obviously we check it on a regular basis, but that has to come down. Now, we've dealt with that. We picked a team from a number of applicants to get the job done, but we're using, and it's still a valuable asset, so when we take that 400 and so garage to a 700-car garage roughly, we add value. That parking is one of our most lucrative assets in the city, so we leverage the value of that garage through a ground lease process. The company builds us a new garage. They retain a portion of the revenue from the garage to pay off their investment and the standard profit you have to make from a deal. And then we get the garage handed back to us 20, 30 years later. So we have the improved asset. And then we are also building in such a way that the floor plates are flat. So maybe in decades from now, when we're all driving less, we could consider converting some of it to offices or residents. But it's such a lucrative asset that it spins extra money off that we can use to raise City Dock so we can protect the historic district and we can coordinate with the Naval Academy's efforts to protect the Naval Academy through a similar concept, creating a barrier that pushes back against, the sea level rise that we know is ultimately coming.
And we see with the periodic flooding that we have on sunny days, right? Sunny day flooding, tidal flooding.
Yeah, I always say that Annapolis knows what sea level rise looks like, because we deal with it on a regular basis. We've done a tremendous effort, and I want to give our City Manager, David Gerald, and Alderman Tierney credit for their efforts to come up with a strategy to help us in the short term. We have had way less nuisance flooding issues. We still have had the same amount of storm surge or sunny day flooding events, but because we've installed a pump system, we've managed to hold the water back so that we don't have to close down Dock Street, the area in front of Armadillos, or that we don't have to close down the Spar Creek Bridge because of the flooding in front of the business,
the hotel,
the waterfront hotel.
Yeah, although we recently had to do that. Not as much, not as much.
Way less, but people don't notice it until they see it happen. That's why, but really, if you count the days, it's way less than we've been dealing with before I came into office. I
give you credit for that and them credit for that, because that is a definite thing. It has definitely been way less. You did say increasing water access. Water access has been gained. What can you tell me about that?
We will create, firstly, a world-class park at City Dock that will be programmable and will speak to lots of different parts of our history. So that will be an amazing waterfront access. We'll have some of the docks rebuilt so they're more on water level. There'll be different programming that can get you on kayaks or different other fishing boats and different things like that when we're finished. So that water access will be one of the key components of what we've done. One of the things that people talk about when they come to the city is we come here for the waterfront, but there is limited access to actually dip your toes in the water or get onto the water. We have some good ferries there, which I love as well, and the water taxi, but I want to add some capacity there. And then we've made it a priority in other parts of the city to make sure, and we're currently working on different access points throughout the city, Northwest Street and Hawkins Cove, a place I'm working on at the end of Monroe. So throughout the city, we're making sure that there is good access for people to pick up a water taxi or drop their kayak in. The South Annapolis Yacht Center is going to give us capacity for pickup there. We made sure that happens when they finish their project. So because that was a question that many people had that live in the Eastport area, that it's water access currently for those that have money. Well, we're making sure that it's water access for everybody. They might have a gate system, but that gate will always have to be open so that people can get to the waterfront. That's definitely something that I stipulated and something they gave us. We're going to make them deliver on that. And, and lots of other exciting things that are happening throughout the city. Waterworks Park is a great example of water access. There's a beautiful dam in Waterworks Park, which is a 600-acre park where the city's water treatment plant is, and where also we have, our great solar park there. Yeah. And that is was one of the largest solar parks in America on a brownfield. So we have through no cost to the taxpayer, created a network of trails in that park that take you past the water of the dam and get you all the way down to Honeysuckle Lane. It was a beautiful piece of nature that we opened up just in time, because we know the upside of COVID is that more people are discovering parks, more people are walking, more people are biking. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back on the 1430 Connection. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole, talking today to Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley. This was going to come later, but since you brought up recreation during the pandemic, many of our young skateboarders here in Anne Arundel County and Annapolis are going to outside of the county for good skate park, North Laurel Skate Park to be specific. And how do I know this? Because I'm the mom to one of them. And the Annapolis Skate Park is in a dark corner of Truxton Park, which you know. It's not well lit, nor is the parking lot. And some skaters like to skate after the sun goes down, when it's less hot in the summer, or just when their schedule allows, especially in the fall and winter when they're now getting off of school. It's already dark. I know you were originally thinking about another skate park in Annapolis, and I wanted to find out what's the status of that. Is that still a thought? Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge supporter of skate parks and initiatives like that, not just for skateboards, but for scooters and for rollerblades or any sorts of things. I have a great model in my old hometown of Fremantle that I always like to show off to people. So yeah, we need to add more capacity. We need to take the fence down. There shouldn't be a fence around it. It should be lit, should be expanded, and we should be looking for other opportunities. And I promise you, it's probably going to be hard to get it started on this term, but I promise you in my second term that we're going to deliver some really, really great skate capacity.
All right. Speaking of Truxton Park, since we're also on that topic, you expressed a desire for a much-needed fixing of the trail system, which I've fallen on there. Mm-hmm. That also is now being, I guess, diverted to your next term, if there is one?
So we've put some money in the budget for design and for and we've met with the Trailworks team, who are the Trailworks team who did cut all the trails for walkers and bikers into Bacon Ridge as well as to Waterworks Park. When the trail system in Truxton, and I walk that a lot, was designed, there was no consideration for erosion, so the trails were cut incorrectly, and that's why we see the massive amount of degradation of the trails that is there, because it wasn't designed properly. So we are redesigning those trails. It is an amazing asset that we are so lucky to have in the city, and so when we get that fixed, and we will get it fixed. We have an amazing pool now. We have an amazing park there. We'll do upgrades at the the parking capacity at the boat ramp. The new tennis courts and pickleball courts are finally going to get across the line. We have some amazing assets here that make this city so livable, and so and it's exciting for me because this is all stuff I'm really passionate about.
As we see coronavirus rates continuing to rise locally and nationally, the Anne Arundel County Executive has appealed to the governor to lower capacity in restaurants. He posted on Facebook, "We must stop dining indoors at restaurants and bars. Our county has restricted this activity to 25% capacity, but the state allows double that. We should move as a state back to takeout and provide financial assistance to the workers and owners." Your feeling about that as both a mayor and someone with quite a bit of experience in the restaurant industry?
Yeah, I think that, we're all trying to strike that balance, right? But definitely, I know it's been a point for me and the governor, and I'm sure the county executive, that we have been proud of the work that Maryland has done to stay out of the red, right? So we have coordinated not only the health crisis response, but an economic response for businesses that has worked to date. But now, as we see a rise and as we approach holidays, we're trying to think of measures that we can do just so we can limp through December and give our small businesses a fighting chance. And one of those is probably, keeping the numbers a little bit down in restaurants, still giving them the outdoor capacity and the tents with ventilation. We pray for a not so cold December. If we're lucky, we would be in a better position to deal with any kind of shutdown in January, when people are kind of hibernating anyway, and hopefully there is some heroes money on the way. That CARES money, the heroes money, that's been the game changer for a lot of small businesses. Before, when we had a crisis in 2008 and 2009, it was top-down help, and the CARES money, the heroes money, is bottom-up help. So it helps you, as the small business owner, survive, but it also helps you give your employees some access to some funds in the slow time, and then it helps us kind of get through to where we all want to get through, which is antidote and on the other side of the COVID crisis.
Let's take another short break. We'll be right back on the 1430 Connection. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole, talking today to Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley. This past spring and summer, we locally saw several peaceful protests and marches. I, in fact, saw you at a few of them. People were demanding, as they should, equal rights, no more discrimination, no more racism, no more police brutality incidents. What has been your response since all of these marches and protests?
I think, the city of Annapolis has nothing to fear from police reform, because we have a good police department with fine people who work and it just takes a few bad actors, like in anything, to sort of cast a negative light on what they have to do. Police officers have the toughest job in America, there is no question, and we need to humanize police officers so people know that they have a family, they have a mortgage, they have all the same problems that we all have. So humanization of the police. But then on the other side of it, we have to humanize young people that are often are at the wrong end of some of these situations, obviously to the point of losing their lives. So that we have to understand people's circumstances. We have to stop being as jumpy as we are. There's a disproportionate fear in our country, really, to what the real experience is. And so I'm trying police reform in the city of Annapolis. It is obviously a challenge all over the country, but we have to think of another model. We have to think we can't just militarize all the time. It's not like more force and continual force hasn't worked. So I'm asking the citizens of Annapolis to bear with us while we try something new. We have had body cameras in place. We are working on civilian review boards. We have more cops walking the beat. We have more cops on bikes, trying to build relationships. We have initiatives so that we can help when people come out of prison. People have to understand when people have been inside and they've finished their sentences, they have to go somewhere. They come home, and so you have to give them better alternatives when they come home. So we've got multiple initiatives that we're working on to address that, and generally, our city, as much as we fear crime, if you looked at our city statistically, we wouldn't be considered a high crime city.
We're going into the holiday season. People are going to need to shop for the holidays. What we don't want to see happen are more closures in Annapolis because people can't pay their bills because they don't have enough business, but we also need to be safe. What do you say to helping out the retailers of Annapolis?
I was making sure that when the health crisis hit, that I knew that we were prepared for the economic crisis. So immediately from when the shutdown happened, we pushed a lot of initiatives on the health side, bringing testing into the communities, blood drives, no shut-offs, all the sorts of things that we could do to help people survive that part. On the economic side, we made sure that as soon as the governor gave us the green light to partially reopen, that we were ready to close down streets, and so that we could, businesses could do, we could create town centers, we could create outdoor synergy, which is a lot safer than people being inside. That has worked. Now the holiday season here and the weather is changing, so now we have to rethink the model. So the tents with ventilation are a short-term idea. I encourage everybody at their own pace and in a staggered way to come and see the city this year. We are wrapping every single tree in sight so that the city looks magical. We already have a beautiful kind of Rockwell painting on our main street, and I believe shopping sort of outdoors on an authentic main street is a lot safer than being indoors in a enclosed space with recycled air. So I encourage people to come to the city. If they don't feel comfortable getting out of their cars, pull up to the business you support, pop your trunk, and they'll put your shopping in it. Go down the road, pick up some food and take it home. But also come out and keep the safe 6 feet apart from people with your mask, and go in to the shops here. That they really need people now, and we've kind of got getting close to getting hopefully to the other side of this, but small businesses really need you. We have an authentic Main Street that welcomes you, and Main Street is going to look beautiful this year, and we would love as many of you come down.
Shop local, in other words.
And shop local, yeah. Our small businesses need you more than Jeff Bezos needs you.
Mayor Gavin Buckley, thank you for joining me today on the 1430 Connection.
Yeah, I really appreciate being on the show. Thank you.
This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will see you next week.